getting to be a yes lawyer. That is not normally something that you hear, but today we have Lon Povich, who's currently in private practice with Anderson and Krieger in Boston, but has a long career in-house. Lon, I'm really excited about your topic, getting to be a yes lawyer, and I'd love you to briefly tell us about your career.
Thank you, Sylvia. I'm very happy to be with you and everyone else today. I began my career after my clerkship at the firm now known as Goodwin, then Goodwin Procter & Hoare in Boston. As a litigator, I transitioned after 5 years to the United States Attorney's Office in Boston. And then after 4 years there, I became Deputy Chief Legal Counsel to the then Governor of Massachusetts. After that first decade of practicing law, I started my career in-house when I joined the Boston Consulting Group, the international consulting firm, as their first general counsel. I created that role and I held that post for 11 years. After that stint, I was interested in working for a public company and then one that had a little bit aspects closer to home. So I became general counsel of the then publicly traded BJ's Wholesale Club, which is a big box retailer along the lines of Costco and Sam's Club, primarily on the East Coast of the US. I stayed at that job through the transition from a public company to a private company owned by private equity investors. And after a total of 7 years at BJ's, I became chief legal counsel to the current governor of Massachusetts, a role which I held until about a year ago. And a year ago, I left government for the second or third time and returned to a private law firm for the second time. So it was in the midst of my travels in the in-house world that I started using the branding of being a yes lawyer.
You know, how did you first discover what it means to be a yes lawyer and a brand of a yes lawyer?
Well, I want to emphasize that being a yes lawyer does not mean that you let people take inordinate risks or you expose your clients or yourself to inordinate risk. It's more important about establishing a brand. And it was quite by happenstance that this idea came to me, and there may be many others who had it, so I don't want to claim originality. Although the way it came to be is while I was at Boston Consult Group, a friend of mine who had just become CEO of a local HMO health insurer called me up because he said he was looking for a general counsel. I wasn't particularly interested in leaving BCG, where I was at the time, but he was a friend, so I thought I'd meet with him and chat about it. And he kept asking me what kind of lawyers he should hire and what kind of folks he should think about and what was important in a general counsel. And I answered all those questions. And finally, to take another run at it, he said to me, well, what kind of lawyer are you? And while my temptation was to say a good lawyer, a careful lawyer, a thorough lawyer, in my glibness, I just said to him over this cup of coffee, I'm more a yes lawyer than a no lawyer. That's what I am. I'm a yes lawyer. And he like lit up. And I thought, whoa, this is the way that CEOs want to think about their lawyers. Not the Department of No, but the Department of Yes. So it was at that moment I decided that without moving on the risk side or moving on the quality side for sure, I would try to exude a brand of being a yes lawyer. And to skip ahead, that CEO later became the governor of Massachusetts, for whom I was a general counsel a decade and a half after that meeting. So, and he reminded me continually during the time that we worked together in the State House that he was always looking for his lawyers to help him get to yes and not to no.
But why is it good for clients to believe that you are a yes lawyer?
Well, I think it's really important for three reasons. One, it's important to have a reputation where you're seen as helping people. Lawyers often complain that they are brought in at the end of the process. They're brought in when people have already made all the important decisions and just want something written up or just want to see it get done. And lawyers often complain, especially the in-house teams I've worked with, no, we want to get in early so we can help you shape the ideas and shape what you're going to do, just not write it down. And if you have a reputation of being a yes lawyer, you're more likely to be invited into conversations early, because at the end of the day, they think you're there to help and will help. in addition to the reputation, I think the reality is important. It doesn't mean a yes lawyering, doesn't mean that your clients get to do all the crazy, close to the line, close to the ethical line, things that they might want to do to move business along. That's not it at all. But they do want to get things done. And they want to get them done always at a quicker time frame than many people are comfortable with. But you need, not only you need the reputation of being a yes lawyer to get in early, you need the reality of being a yes lawyer to help your clients succeed. And finally, the yes lawyer allows you to frame your legal work as part of the ongoing business case of the company. Business people by their nature, salespeople in particular, as we all know, are very optimistic. They are thinking of how well they can do, not how many risks they run. And again, when you come in with a reputation for getting things done, a reality for getting things done, and the optimistic attitude that you are here to help manage the risk, all those things reinforce your reputation as a yes lawyer, reinforce the brand, and in my view, again, allow you to say no when you have to say no, but get you as part of the team that helps move the business ahead.
What are the other traits of a yes lawyer, Lon?
Well, I think you need to help your clients with the problem, not with their solution. When I joined BCG as their first general counsel, they had been an outside lawyer who worked very closely with the company in the absence of a general counsel. And I was completely new. I had not been a corporate lawyer. I had not been in-house. And I would have a conversation. I'd call him up and I'd say, Hugh, we need to do this kind of agreement. Or I answered the problem for him. And he would always slow me down and say, okay, that's great. That's what you think you want. But what are you trying to get done? And I think as a yes lawyer, when you get in early, you get to help define the problem, not just think of what the document looks like to write it up. I think the second trait that's important for a yes lawyer is to answer the client's question. And often, especially, you have to know your clients, and that's a benefit of being in-house. You get to work with the same people over and over again. But you have to actually answer the question they ask with not so much analysis. Practicing law, and I'm sure so many of you who are listening to this know this and believe this and do this, but it's not a law school exam. The clients aren't looking for all the things that might go wrong and all the puts and takes. They really want to know, can I do it? And I think you need to answer that question and discuss the major risks. The third thing about being a yes lawyer is you have to set a reasonable timeline. Clients are often not reasonable, but you have to work with them to set a reasonable timeline, a reasonable deadline, and then you have to meet it. The next thing is, it really goes back to the first point of defining the problem, is if at all possible, again, not pushing beyond where you're comfortable on legal or ethical boundaries, but if at all possible, you have to provide a solution for the problem. Might not be the solution they started with, but a yes lawyer gets their client where they want to go. Maybe not in the straight line that they thought, maybe in a bank shot, maybe in a whole different way. And all of this allows you to do the fifth, really, and final point, and hopefully all of this is a virtuous reinforcement loop. But you have to build relationships. Again, the beauty of the in-house world is that you can actually build a relationship. You can get a reputation. But I think if you attach every problem or attack every problem as trying to find a solution for your clients, trying to get them where they want to be, answering their questions and keeping the timeline, you'll build a reputation and relationships that allow you to do that in a continually reinforcing way, which improves your service to the client and improves your practice from your own point of view within the company.
So how can you actually make that yes lawyer brand last? Is there a secret to that?
Well, I think it's easier to say no if people view you as a yes lawyer than as a no lawyer. Because it's sort of like raising your voice with children. If you never do it, when you actually yell at someone, and I'm not encouraging you to yell in the practice of law or at home, but when you actually raise your voice with someone, they particularly take notice. So I think that the credibility that you build through working with business people over and over again helping them solve their problem, even in a way that they didn't think it could be solved or should be solved, and getting it done on a timeline that you agree to, that's reasonable, and that you keep to, allows you to say yes most of the time. And then when you have to say no, and you clearly explain you're saying no, they don't think you're taking the easy way out, because it's not easy to say no to a CEO or a general counsel if you're in a different in-house role, or to the CFO or whatever the business person is. But I think you need to build credibility through being a yes lawyer that then really allows you to say no in the instances when you have to.